Hello there. I'm Christina Ciceron of Ciceron Law, Community Association Counsel. Welcome to this month's edition of Legal News that you can use. This month, we continue the second of a two-part series regarding the enforcement of rules and regulations in your California homeowners associations. Last month, we talked about the three methods that are available for enforcement of governing documents. And this month, we're going to talk about potential liability when members of the board fail to enforce their governing documents. And we're also going to talk about 4 ways that your board of directors can lose the right to enforce your governing documents. I've even provided you with a handy visual aid from my family's recent vacation. We are frequent floaters in our family. We love to go on cruises. And you hang this sign on your door when you're on a cruise. Cruising or snoozing? Is your board of directors cruising by and making sure that you are on top of violations? Or are you guys snoozing and letting your neighbors get away with things that are making it difficult to enforce your governing documents in the future? Today, we're going to focus to make sure that you're cruising and that you're not snoozing. So let's get started. First, your board of directors can lose the right to enforce the governing documents if you miss the statute of limitations. In California, the Code of Civil Procedure gives us a 5-year statute of limitations from the time that you should have known that a person was violating the governing documents. So 5 years from when the person seeking to enforce the governing document knows a violation is occurring, that's your statute of limitations to take action. The second way that you can lose the right to enforce your governing documents is by waiver. A waiver in the law is a failure for the board to take any action at all. This means that at some point, if you want to go after an owner who's been leaving his trash cans out and he's been doing it over and over, and you've never sent a warning notice or never sent a violation notice, you don't have the right just to go right in and send a fine. The board could actually waive their right to enforce the governing documents because they were not letting the owner know that they were in breach of the documents. The third way that you can lose the right to enforce your governing documents is a legal argument called estoppel. This is when a party is prevented by his own acts from claiming a right. Lastly, you can lose the right to enforce your governing documents by another fun Latin legal word called laches. Laches is a form of estoppel where a party is prevented from claiming a right because of a failure to enforce at the right time. This means that you need to give homeowners timely notice of their violations. This doesn't mean that you need to fine everyone, but send a courtesy or a warning notice so that the owner knows that they are in violation of the documents. Courts in California have held boards of directors liable for failure to enforce their governing documents. The 1991 case of Posey versus Leavitt was a case where an owner recovered damages for an association because of its failure to enforce the CC&Rs. This is going to be a very hot button topic with secondhand smoke because boards of directors are going to be looked at by courts to enforce the governing documents and make sure that owners are not smoking in the common area if it is improper to do so underneath your governing documents, and that homeowners are not causing smoke from their home to emanate into a neighbor's home. We could talk about rules and regulations forever and ever, but I invite you to leave some comments down below about rules and regulations that have been enforced or not enforced in your community association. And I also encourage you to not snooze and cruise by making sure you're letting owners know when they're in violation of their governing documents. Be sure to like us on Facebook and leave us some feedback down below about topics that you'd like to see us cover in a future month. I'll see you soon. This month, we are talking about, drum roll please, rules enforcement at your homeowners association. Specifically, we are going to talk about enforcement mechanisms that are available when a homeowner fails to follow the rules.